Hello! Welcome to a special Oh What a Marvel recapping the Black Widow movie. I'm so excited, if you can't tell, to finally talk about this movie. I am Sarah. I'm going to be leading the discussion because I have so many things I want to talk about. And with me, who I'm basically going to yell at for the next however long, is Shawn. Hello, Shawn.
I gotta say, that was a clean as hell intro. All right,
Ooh.
I just want to say, like, we went into it pretty much perfectly.
You
There
know
was,
what? Good
pat
for
us on the
us.
back.
Good.
We did
We
a
did it.
damn good job. Now we just need to do the rest of it.
Do a good
Uh,
show. Yeah. All right, I'm so excited to talk about this movie. I want to start out by talking about what our expectations, not expectations, but how we were feeling about this movie before we saw it and what we thought of the movie. So I was highly anticipating this movie and I was really looking forward to it. And it met my expectations and I'm kind of obsessed with it, which I feel like most people are. I don't. Most people on my side of TikTok are obsessed with this movie. Shawn, how are you feeling?
oh, I loved it. So my expectations were actually really low. Um, I was, I was, I had this weird moment the night it came out. I went to go see it Thursday night with some friends. It was actually the first time I'd been to the theater in a year and a half, you know? So I had this weird moment where I was thinking, I can't wait to see Black Widow to get it out of the way
Yeah,
so that like we can get into like Shang-Chi and the Eternals and Spider-Man. And then I went and the movie started. And I was like, no, this is special. Like this is something different.
yeah,
And as the movie goes on and you get into like those opening credits, I was like, no,
yeah,
this is something that's really special.
yeah,
And especially in the MCU, where end of phase 3, we kind of started to get into letting the directors do more of their vision, when you look at Ragnarok and stuff like that. But Black Panther also comes to mind.
yeah.
This movie feels like that. This movie does not
Yes,
feel. This feels like somebody wanted to fucking make a Black Widow movie, and the people at Marvel were like, "You do whatever you want." I guess I'll cap off my opening thoughts with what I've told people, because like I'm obsessed with the movie. I really loved it. The plot,
Oh,
a little shaky, right? And actually,
yeah.
what I was saying to people, and I heard this from somebody else first, and I can't remember who said it first, but I agreed with it completely. It's that it feels like a phase 1 or phase 2 plot, but with the style of a phase 4 or late phase 3 project.
I
Like,
agree.
the plot is very simplistic, kind of like where we started in the MCU, but I feel like the style is just off the charts.
Yeah, I agree. I also said in our like group chat thing, you said I love this movie. I watched it, said I love this movie. I There were things I had issues with.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't go to the movie theaters. We did the premium
Mm-hmm.
$30 just because my husband like has a really nice TV anyway. So I was like, you know what,
Okay.
it will be fine. Like nice sound system, nice TV, like it's fine. So we watched it that way, and what the great thing with Disney Plus is that I don't know for how long, but I think forever you can rewatch the movie. So I
Yeah.
watched it Saturday or Friday, and then Saturday I watched it again, and then, which is great for me. It definitely grew on me the second rewatch. A lot of the plot points, because a lot of the things that kind of unfold throughout the movie, going back watching it again, it makes a lot more sense, and
Mm-hmm.
you kind of pick up on things. The characters, I love the characters, but I agree, the story for me is probably the weakest part. It's just a basic revenge,
Yeah.
yeah, phase 1 kind of
It.
story, which is, that's fine. That's all it really needed
Yeah.
to be. I love the performances. I love
Oh
these
yeah.
characters. I personally, and I would like to get into it, I like a lot of the action scenes. I've been seeing a lot of people complaining about the action set pieces, that they were just kind of boring, which I agree. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think they were boring, but I think a lot of them, I mean, at this point, like, how can you get too innovative? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I think I also think people are forgetting that this movie had a lot of action. Like, a lot.
Oh my god, it was a lot. It was a lot.
It was so much. Because even rewatching it the very next day, what stuck with me at the end of the first watch was the prison scene and then the end kind of scene. And even in the third act, there's like 3 different action scenes all in that third act ending.
Yeah.
But then there's also, like, it starts out with a plain action scene, like, which I completely forgot about. Like, there's so much in this movie. And it just really surprised me that people were like, I don't know, the action was kind of boring, or I didn't really like the action. And I was like, what did you think about the action?
The action lost me a little bit at the end.
Yeah.
Because it kind of gets into the, like, it's the same problem I have with Black Panther, where that movie is super stylized until the last third when it becomes a CGI fight fest. And with the flying thing, it didn't bother me, but I thought it was definitely a step below the action in the rest of the movie. The rest of the movie, I felt very energized by the action. They would do stuff, and I'd go, "Oh my god!" Like, I mean, the fight between Yelena and Natasha towards the beginning, like, holy
insane.
Fuck. It's This movie fucking moves too.
It does.
Yeah, it
really does.
2 hours 15 minutes or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Didn't feel like.
And maybe that's a good point where the story is pretty basic, that it feels like it's moving, because it's really moving because like the action is just like, oh, we meet our characters and they're beating each other up, and now we're breaking out our new character out of prison, and now we're doing, and then when we do have the scene where they're all sitting down and we kind of get to take a breath and stuff, it's like really interesting and kind of refreshing, and then it's right back to action, which I think it works pretty well.
I think it works great. I loved the family dynamic between the 4 of them.
Loved.
The movie kept me on my heels as well. It surprised me in places. In some places it didn't. I got that the daughter was Taskmaster maybe a couple minutes before it happened. But like what the only character's name I can't remember is Rachel Weisz's.
Melina,
was that it? Okay.
Melina, yeah.
Melina. Okay, well, Melina taking the fucking mask off and being Natasha, that I was so confused as to what was happening.
Me too.
I'm like, why is he talking to her like this? This is really weird. And then he takes the thing off. And in retrospect, that entire scene makes so much more sense.
Yes.
When you know that he knows that it's Natasha underneath, and when you know that it's Natasha underneath as well, I really like how it kind of goes back and forth between those things. So the movie kept me on my heels. The one thing it didn't keep me on my heels about was the speaking of the action sequences, and I was let down by the falling action sequence where they're falling through the sky. Was much shorter than I expected it to be, and I think the issue is we've had so many trailers for this movie at this point. I feel like we saw the entire thing in the trailers. That entire sequence where they're falling and fighting.
I think the last time I saw a trailer was like a year ago, before the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
I stayed away.
Okay.
I remember watching the first one and being like, this looks really good. I love all these actors. I'm in. I don't really need to watch anything else. I know the very last shot of the movie with with them, that's all over the trailers, right? I was like, this is literally the last shot. So I think for me, that was another thing I wanted to bring up. I think for me that this movie works so well for me because I literally didn't know what was going to happen. I wasn't sitting there being like, oh, okay, I still got to wait for this to happen. I still got to wait for this action scene to happen. I was surprised every time something would happen, which
I feel like the movie kept going fast enough that I didn't have time to think about what was next.
Yeah.
I just was like, I remember the action sequence at the where they're falling through the sky, and I'm being like, oh man, this looked really cool in the trailers. I can't wait to see more of it. And then it ended, and I was like, I feel like I saw that.
It did end really quick. She ended up on the ground really fast.
I expected it to go for a lot longer than it did. But I mean, I guess maybe it's fair because I don't know if you noticed it, but I definitely noticed that Natasha takes some fucking damage in this movie. There's a lot of points where you're like, really?
Girl.
Really? Like,
we'll talk about Natasha. We'll talk about Natasha. I want to go back and talk about Taskmaster.
okay.
I know that was the thing that a lot of people have been saying that they're disappointed by.
Mhm.
I know nothing about this. I thought the concept was really cool. Was really cool. I didn't need it to be the daughter. I thought that was weird. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I could give or leave that. Your typical whatever Marvel. But I know a lot of people did not like how they changed it from the comics.
Hi. I would say that I was okay with it.
Okay.
I was, because Taskmaster in the comics is cool. I don't know a whole ton about him.
Okay.
I I feel like he would have been really disconnected from Natasha. Like it would, and I mean, I feel like I wasn't the only one that was certain it was Rachel Weisz in the costume. The entire time watching all the trailers,
Really?
I was like, oh, it's gonna be Melina in the costume, for sure. But it wasn't. And the movie surprised me there. Kind of.
It really wasn't.
Yeah, no, it really wasn't. I figured it out a couple minutes beforehand, like I said, but it did throw me off there. But I think, from what I know of Taskmaster, I think he's a little boring. Like, his skill set is cool, but his personality is kind of like, I'm a witty British man. I make sarcastic jokes.
So he's not a robot, like an android person.
No, he's like a.
Did you like that? This concept of it, where like they had to load it into the back of her head, and that she was just watching the different videos of their things.
I hope that they establish this concept and they push it for. I'd love to see her back as Taskmaster and maybe move a little bit more into a more faithful direction.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe she doesn't, I think establishing the personal connection is an important thing instead of making this character Taskmaster completely unrelated.
That's true.
Anything going on. Now, Taskmaster kind of just shows up and gets her ass kicked and it's done. So, like, I'd like to see her show up again, maybe be like an anti-hero and kick some ass. That's kind of what I'd like to see happen. I don't want this to be the last time we see Taskmaster.
Yeah.
I think if it is, it's probably really disappointing.
I feel like it is.
You think so? You don't think we're ever going to see her again?
No, I feel like it, because I feel like her whole what drove her was her father was the one that, and she was also under the mind control. I think without her dad, like, being the one to push her, I don't think she would have done any of that. Unless they bring it and it's a whole new character and it's like, it's another Taskmaster. Like, I don't think we're going to see this again.
That. But what if she's got like some really deep-seated anger issues that she has to work through from her life as a...
I mean, it's a cool I love the concept, and I love the scene when she first meets Black Widow, and you see the like analyzing in the like glasses, and they do the same move. Love that. So cool. But yeah, I don't know if she'll come back.
I mean, hey, throw her in with Yelena and John Walker and...
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, do it. She's just wandering the streets, and what's her name shows up.
I mean, can you imagine how badass it would be if, like, we got a movie that opened up with a scene of, like, John Walker, Yelena, Taskmaster, and, like, two other anti-heroes
at a bar
doing a mission. Oh, no, I was going to say, like, doing a mission. Like,
that would be great.
Like, John Walker fucking throws a shield at somebody, but they get around the corner so it hits the wall, and Taskmaster just walks up and grabs it.
Yeah.
And throws it. Like, I don't know. It'd be cool to see them all team up. I think that might be neat.
I don't know if we will, but maybe.
That's quick. I love you, man. I didn't mean to dox myself. You got to watch out for that wrong YouTube account. You got to watch out. You got to be careful. You might...
Oh no!
You might play yourself.
So you don't have multiple YouTube accounts. So that's it.
No.
Anyway, okay. I want to talk about the characters and performances. First off, well, let's talk about Scarlet. Let's talk about the main character, Black Widow, starting out. I think based on that, I think we're the same. I thought she was the weakest performance for me. I'm going to be honest. I felt like she was kind of until the end. With that whole, I thought she was really good at the end scene, kind of. With the guy, I don't know his Draco.
That scene, I thought that scene was great.
Yeah, that was great. The rest of her, for me, I felt like she was kind of sleeping. Like, I'm going to be honest. Like,
I was just going to say, it felt like she was just floating through the movie.
It literally felt, and I rewatched Endgame yesterday, sobbed like 5 times. I don't know why. And she is so good. Like, I still think Endgame is her best performance. Because she just has this kind of, I think Scarlett is really good at
it in that movie.
She's good at just kind of walking through performances, and when she hits, she hits. Like that in Marriage Story, it's not like it's
Jojo Rabbit.
Yes, exactly. She has this kind of sparkle that I didn't see until the end scene when she's like kind of mocking him and hits her head on the thing, which I was like, oh god.
I went, oh my god.
But the rest of the movie, she just felt like there was like a disconnect. Like she wasn't really there. And for me, that made the other performances so much stronger. Like, I think Florence Pugh killed it.
God.
She was amazing. Like, stole every
Why do you do this thing? Why do you do this thing?
That's
It's my favorite scene in the whole movie. Why do you? Oh yeah, and she's doing that thing with her head when she's doing.
When she's like, "Why do you do this?"
Yeah. So because she's flipping her hair. Yeah.
Yeah. And then she actually does the pose when she lands, and she's like, "Ugh."
Yeah.
So good.
Okay, I want to hit on because you brought up the nose breaking scene, so I want to hit on that because really quickly we'll jump back to Scarlett. Because there's one. This movie was in my opinion, way more violent than any other Marvel movie. I think
so violent.
It was extremely violent. Okay, I just want to make
choking each other with the curtain.
Okay,
I was like, what is happening? She grabs the knife. And she's like, stay down, like shoving her on the thing. I was like, what is happening?
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't the only one that was like, oh my god, this is violent. Anyways,
that scene between the two of them, I was like, what? It felt like a John Wick. Like I don't sometimes in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Remember, there was a couple scenes that we were like, ooh, like that's kind of. That one, the Sharon Carter scene when they were like at the boat, the docks or whatever. Yeah, it was. They're like stabbing each other. When she stabs the one girl, like the widow, and like rips out the knife, I was like, this is graphic.
When they hit her in the back with like the grappling hook. Oh.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this is. I agree.
Anyways, Scarlett, I think she kind of floated through it. Now I'm curious. Because what I was not expecting from this movie, I expected the movie to set up Florence Pugh as Yelena. Like, I think everybody kind of figured Yelena's probably going to be the next Black Widow. Florence Pugh is a really hot actress right now.
And she's amazing.
And for good reason, coming off of Little Women, especially, I think.
She's incredible.
She was nominated for that movie. So, I mean, I think everybody was kind of like, yeah, she's probably going to be the next Black Widow. I didn't realize how much of a focus this movie was gonna put on her, because I felt like I was watching the movie and in my head I was kind of thinking like, oh, it's called Black Widow, not Natasha Romanoff, because I feel like it's about both of them equally.
The widows,
I think it's about Yelena and Natasha equally. I think she's like the co-lead, the second.
Yeah, I agree.
Character. And I wonder if Scarlett took kind of because she executive produced the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if she kind of stepped back a little bit and focused on setting up this future in Yelena. Because, again, like, her performance wasn't, it
was good, but it wasn't her best. Yeah, it was fine. It was fine.
I feel like the movie showcased Yelena way more than it did.
That makes a lot of sense. Like, they're introducing this new person who we know is going to be, like, we're assuming, she's going to be the next Black Widow, and I think it worked. Like, everything I see all over is people love Yelena, like, love her character.
It's cool. It's got so many pockets. I love it so much. It's so good.
She's just so good. Like, she can handle the action. She can handle the tough, like, scenes and the humor. The scene when they're all sitting at the table and she's like saying it was real for me is so good.
Yeah.
And it's just so simple. Like I like from an acting standpoint, I love it. It's just incredible. And
speaking of that dinner scene, can we talk about Alexi?
Let's talk about Alexi is like it's equal. He also stole the movie from me. Like
and then my father went to the bathroom on my hands.
That scene with them is great. I cry when they're singing American Pie, and
I thought they were gonna kill him. I knew that something was gonna happen when he said, "This'll be the day that I die." I was like, on die, they're gonna do something.
Yeah.
I thought he might like get fucking shot in the back. I was like, "This will be the day that I die," and then boom. But I mean, it still worked the way it. I'm glad they didn't kill him. I thought for sure one of those people were gonna die, and the movie was like, "No, we might use them later."
Oh, please do. Yeah, let's talk about Alexi. You could tell he was having so much fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The prison scene, all the tattoos, like you can just tell like he was having a blast, and he was so funny. Like all this stuff was so ridiculous, like absolutely ridiculous, and I loved it. I loved I just loved every second of it. Especially the helicopter scene is so funny.
Oh, that scene's so good.
When he's like, "Oh, what are you on your period?" and she's like, "I don't have a uterus."
That was really funny. He's like, "No, stop talking." I loved when she called him Crimson Dynamo, because I don't know if you're aware of this. Crimson Dynamo is essentially the Russian Iron Man.
Yes, I saw that on the TikTok.
So that joke lands in, like, first of all, it's not him, right? But second of all, it's like the Russian version of the anti-Captain America. Like, Iron Man and Captain America, kind of different sides of the spectrum. So for it also just straight up she doesn't know her father's superhero name, but she also calls him by what I assume is, like, if Crimson Dynamo existed in this timeline, I assume he and Red Guardian
that would be his enemy.
Like, maybe not enemies, but like, kind of how Tony Stark and Steve Rogers butted heads,
Yeah.
So it would. I feel like it's probably the same thing for him, and I thought that was really funny.
I love how he was when he asked. I just keep calling her Scarlett. Natasha, that's her name. Yeah. Asked her, like, did he talk about me? Like, talking about Captain America. I was like, oh my gosh. That scene's great too. And he, like, grabs the both of them. And he's like, you guys have killed so many people.
Your ledgers must be dripping. I think they rode that line a little hard. Because everybody loved the your ledger's dripping in red line from whatever movie that's in. I think
it's from Avengers.
Yeah.
With Loki.
They mention her red ledger so many times.
We get it. She killed a lot of people.
Well, I was shocked when I found online afterwards that the Dragovich's or whatever daughter is referenced by Loki in the first.
Yes, I saw that.
I was like, what?
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh, wild. Gotta go back and rewatch that.
Speaking of stuff that got referenced and kind of resolved in this movie, we finally found out what happened in Budapest.
Yes.
Budapest.
That scene didn't work for me, that quippiness, but
I liked him. And Avengers, I was like, what the
and
yeah, I mean,
we found out. Oh yeah, okay. So we found out what happened in Budapest,
yeah.
And it didn't feel like a letdown. Like, okay, she killed the guy's daughter. I also want to say the vest. I'm jumping over the vest scene when they're in the car is like super random at first. If you don't realize that that's the vest that Natasha wears in Infinity War, which I didn't I was like, why are we talking about vests? And to me, it felt very like Solo, like, oh, this is how Solo got his gun. This is how, but it worked for me. Like, it was funny.
Bad. I don't think it was as bad because
it wasn't as bad.
The fucking what's your name line, really?
Because it was just a green vest that she would wear, and now people are like, she wore the vest because of her sister, and like.
I think it works. I think it adds an emotional. Like, I think the problem with the Han Solo scene is that he gets his name from an Imperial officer, and you're like, why would he keep it? Right? Like, why would he keep that name? But
like,
you can.
The the
why
blaster,
Natasha.
like all that stuff too. Like,
Yeah. But like I think you can see with Natasha why she'd keep the vest, you know, if it was given her by
why
Yelena.
she would keep it. It was really sweet. I want to ask, how did you feel about the humor? Like, we've been talking a lot during the different series reviews about our issues with the humor. You said it hit?
It hit for me. I want to check on something really quick. How did you feel about the humor?
It hit, yeah, I would say it hit for me. I want to say that this, I think you said it earlier, this movie did not really feel like a Marvel movie to me. And maybe like because the humor did work a little bit better, except for all the action scenes. Like, to me, it really did just kind of feel like a, what's that? I never saw the Red Sparrow, the Jennifer Lawrence movie.
I didn't
but
see
for
it
me, it felt like it was its own. If you took these characters out of the MCU, like, this would still be a good kind of spy, like, story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which
sorry,
I like.
Yeah. I like as well. On the humor note, what I did want to bring up, and I had to go check really quick, this movie was co-written by the showrunner of WandaVision. And the
Oh,
humor in WandaVision hit for me really well.
yes.
And the humor for this, I don't know, how did you feel about the humor in this? Did you say?
I liked it.
Yeah. I felt like...
There's a couple times I was like, but...
We talked about in Loki and in Black Panther, in Loki, think of the line where they're like, in the line in Falcon and Winter Soldier where they're like, a year in Wakanda and you come out thinking you're the White Panther. It's actually the White Wolf or whatever that. I was thinking of that line and then I said Black Panther. But the humor in that show as well, I think we've been talking about kind of.
Yeah, a little iffy for me.
I just want to shout out the showrunner's name, Jack Schaefer, who also co-wrote on this. Incredible. Like, I think, I mean, I guess we'll see how, not including Loki, because we got to see how Loki sticks the landing, you know, what happens there. But I think this and WandaVision are my favorite stuff out of Phase 4 so far.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I definitely
like this
agree.
more than Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't know how you felt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it flowed a little bit better for me. I think the humor and everything kind of worked. And I mean, I don't know, that's a whole different discussion, because I think Falcon and Winter Soldier's story and plot kind of got messed up because of the pandemic, so it felt a little like, But for this, yeah. I want to talk, okay, so let's talk about the opening scene and the opening credits.
Yeah.
Which, the first time watching, I did not like the opening credits. It totally took me out of it. I didn't like the cover of the song. I was like, why are we using Nirvana? And then rewatching it and not being an idiot and realizing, oh, this movie is about, you know, sex traffic, like, girls and like, especially he says that he does his villain speech at the end and says, like, girls are the most disposable and I can get them and all this stuff, and then rewatching the opening and being like, oh yeah, this is super real. And like, it was just, for me, it made me feel uncomfortable, and then I was like, yeah, that's the point. Like, that's the whole point of this movie, is to be like, hey, this is what's happening. It's not just happening in superhero movies, like, this is actually kind of happening in the real world, but here you go, like, let's watch these two characters. And then seeing the different, like, propaganda kind of stuff, like, like I said, it worked for me the second time.
Yeah,
I don't know about the song, but
it worked for me the first time. I really enjoyed it. I want to hit on this really quick. Nesquick said, "Felt so good to see that Marvel opening in theaters again." I have a weird question to ask you guys. Do you guys feel at all that the Marvel opening has been undercut a little bit with how often we see it every week on Disney Plus? Because I feel like I didn't feel the same level of magic in the theater watching the Marvel opening that I normally do, and I was wondering if it's because I see it almost every week now when I put on Disney Plus to watch the latest episode of the show.
That's true.
I don't know if anybody else felt that way. I don't know if maybe I was just in a weird mood.
I mean, I still get excited when I see the Star Wars one, too, so...
I mean, yeah, but that's Star Wars.
That's true. I don't know.
A long time ago in a galaxy far.
Maybe I just don't pay attention to the Marvel when it's during the shows, so...
Yeah. Well, can't account for taste.
I still get excited. I just want to say they did a really bad job trying to make Rachel Weisz not look attractive when she was. I was like, what are they doing? Oh, you don't think so? Like in the beginning, she's like beautiful and young, and then when you see her later, like they thickened up her eyebrows, they made her look kind of just like plain Jane, and I was like, Rachel Weisz is gorgeous. Like this is
I think they were just trying to show that she was a little bit older. I don't know if they were trying to say that like she didn't look as good. Like
they're just trying to make her look like weathered. Like maybe, she's living out in Russia, which is like -8 degrees at all times. Like,
hey, that farm looks pretty nice. It didn't.
That house was so cute. It was a nice house. And the pigs, I didn't like that scene. I didn't like that she almost killed the pig.
Oh, that was so dark. This movie was so dark. This movie was really dark. I was very surprised.
I would have liked. I liked how the movie went. I would have liked if Rachel Weisz stayed bad. Like, I thought that's kind of where they were going to go. Not bad, but kind of stayed with her, like, we're going to change the world. We're doing this mind control, and didn't really switch because I was like, oh, that's cool. That's interesting. Like, I expected her to be with them, and the fact that she's not, like, that's something different. And then she was, because we had to go back to the family dynamic, and it worked the second time. But the first time, I was like, oh, man, I wish she kind of didn't give in, didn't join them.
I agree with Josh. I'm sorry. You're outnumbered. You're outnumbered, Sarah.
They were trying to show the age difference, but I also think they were just trying to, like, down her naturally gorgeous features and make her look a little bit older, a little bit weathered. Okay, fine.
I'm glad I'm not the only one, by the way. I just wanted to throw that up there. That's quick.
Yeah, it would be cool if the TV shows had a different kind of opening than the movies did to kind of give it.
That's what Star Wars does, the like the.
That's true. But I think this is all supposed to be all this all still connected.
Are you saying The Mandalorian isn't canon?
No, I'm saying that this directly is they're all intertwined.
You wanna talk about how it's all intertwined?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, should we talk about the post-credit scene?
That's kind of what I was thinking about.
Yeah, well, okay, so Scarlett eats it. No, I'm just kidding. Wait, I do have a couple. Before we get to that, there's a couple little things. We talked about all the things we like. I want to talk about some of the things that kind of bothered me. And they're very me kind of things to bother me. First of all, let's talk about the fact I don't know if I can cuss. How the F does she go from red hair to freaking bleached blonde in 2 weeks? There is no way in hell. At the end of the movie, she has this. We see the box of dye, and then at the end of the movie, she has her Infinity War with the bleached hair. There is no way it would be that white. Did she do it herself? Did she go to a salon? I just want to know. Like, there's no way in hell. It took me out of the movie, I'm going to be honest.
Okay, first of all, how many F-bombs have I dropped in the show so far that you feel the need to ask, am I allowed to curse on this show?
Okay, fine.
Hey, Wade is on this show every week.
I just want to upset Josh, okay?
Second of all, I don't know shit about hair, so sure.
There's take it from me. There's no way.
Take it from a woman.
Okay, I want to talk about. My husband looks at me while we're watching the movie, and he was like, "Have you noticed how many ass shots there are of Scarlett in this movie?" And I was like,
"A lot.
There's so much pretty much Scarlett specifically." Which
no, I think it's everyone. I think it's
everyone, but I noticed her, and I don't know if anyone else noticed this, but for me, it kind of made me mad that all Scarlett's suits were very form-fitting, very, like, literally skin tight. Not too skin tight, but I mean, it's been like that for all her movies, and I know a lot of people have kind of had issues that she's always kind of been, like, the sexy one, and all the women's costumes are not really practical, and that's for all superhero movies. I know there's been a lot of.
You go too far in the other direction, apparently, and you get Captain Marvel, which people were mad about. People were like, why are her clothes so baggy? Get the fuck
really?
out of here. Oh my god, yeah, people were so upset about the fact that her suit was pretty baggy.
Well, that's what I'm about to talk about right now. I felt like you have Scarlet in this suit that like isn't the worst, but it's still pretty form-fitting. Then you have Florence Pugh, whose suit was like pretty baggy on her, which is fine, but it's kind of like, how are you gonna amplify and be like, look at Scarlet's body, and then her suit was just a little bit looser, and I think it's because, and this might just totally be a female thing, we pick up on this kind of stuff and the body image and all that fun stuff.
Of course.
But Florence does have like an average body, and that's fine and beautiful, and I love her build. Like, she's a little bit shorter and a little bit stocky, and you're right, she did not need a sexy suit. But I'm just saying, for me, it was kind of like, how are you going to still kind of stick to making like Scarlet look super sexy, and just, I don't know, maybe I'm just mad that they didn't do it for everyone. It just felt very like, okay, like, stop doing this to her, but it's fine. We love that their hair is back. We love the hairstyles. I saw a lot of people saying that finally the hair is not in the face when we're fighting. We got it in braids. We're obsessed with the braids and the earrings and the makeup. It was fun.
One of the things I'm curious about, and I really hope, because she's done with Marvel now, I'd really love to hear her talk about this, because she executive produced this movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Presumably, if she didn't want them doing those ass shots of her, they wouldn't be in the movie. You know, she had power on this movie, I think. You know, like, I'm very curious to see how much power she actually had on it. I saw people online, and I don't know if this is a great comparison, and I don't know if I believe it, but I saw people online that were like, it's like when Chris Hemsworth wants to take his shirt off. He's like, I work hard for this. I'm going to have a shirtless scene.
Yeah, maybe. I think that's good. Because that's your whole body. Like, this is just her ass. Like, it's not like we're like, look at, you know, yeah.
Yeah, it's just that argument doesn't ring true to me. But at the same time, people pointing out that, she executive produced the movie makes me wonder how much of it was forced upon her.
I mean, if she doesn't care and she's like, whatever, like, I mean, maybe, I don't know. It goes both ways, because you're like, maybe she feels super sexy in a little tighter thing. Great. Maybe they offered Florence one and she wanted it to be a little bit baggier. Great, that's fine. For me, it just was one of those things that was like, I wish it, okay.
I noticed it. I was like, I was watching the movie and I was like,
here we go.
Well, it started happening, and kind of in my head, I was like, this was directed by a woman, right? I was like, I feel like this feels like what a man would like direct. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, these other Marvel movies
Justice League, where it's always on like Wonder Woman. Someone, I forgot to bring it up. Let's talk about these accents. I've heard a lot of people talking shit about the accents. I really don't think they were that bad. With that, I think her accent was great. I think David Harbour's was playing up a little bit, but I loved it. It's fine. The villain, Draco, was not.
Draco Malfoy.
Poor Ray something.
Or something?
An English actor, great English actor. The accent was so. It was in and out.
Winstone, not Weinstein.
Weinstein. Ray Weinstein. My husband was like, he was like, is he English? And he was like, because he keeps slipping into an English accent. And I said, I think it's hard. Because Florence Pugh's English, though, isn't she?
Yeah, but she's just amazing.
So no excuse.
She's just great at what she does.
Did they bother you? Did they take you out of it? Did they?
I mean, I don't think they were as bad as, what? Was it Iron Man 2 where she had a really bad accent?
Yeah. It's not as bad as...
which had a
Scarlet
really
Witch's
bad.
Sokovian
Yeah.
accents.
It didn't really bother me. Maybe it's because I'm so used to like Russian accents being butchered on screen, so I'm like, that doesn't really. I mean, we've been
It's
doing it forever.
yeah, it's the best of a butchered one I've heard. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, it didn't really
Yeah,
bother me.
no. Let's talk about the end credit scene. She got her dog. There we go.
She did get her dog, which was very exciting.
Did you think Scarlet was gonna whistle back? I
No, I did not.
was like, she's gonna be alive. There's gonna be a whistle.
I thought Hawkeye was gonna whistle back.
Oh,
I did not go the way I
the
thought it
opposite,
would.
actually.
Yeah. Josh, you think Valentina's building Leviathan? I won't lie to you. I don't remember. Leviathan, not sure what that is.
I don't know what
My
that is.
comic knowledge is not all encompassing. Maybe Secret Warriors. Secret Warriors seems very unlikely because I don't think this is a good guy team, judging by their goal of killing Hawkeye. And the Secret Warriors are kind of good guys if I remember correctly. And also, I think we'll see Taskmaster join this crew. You're outvoted again, Sarah. You're outvoted again. I think she's building the Thunderbolts. I think at one point, I think we're not gonna see what's his name come back. Ross. I don't think Ross is coming back
Really?
because there were more shots of him in the trailer, and they cut that shit out.
He looked
And that
so
ending,
old.
the ending is so disjointed. Because you're like, she's like, I'm going to stay and meet with Ross. And we know that she meets with Ross in some version of this movie because there are
Really?
scenes of it in the trailer of Ross getting out of that car and looking at her and shit. Like, I would bet money that there's a version of this movie where she has a whole conversation with General Ross. Josh.
I don't think John.
I don't
What's
think
his?
he's
Is it John
coming back.
Hurt? Did you see how skinny he looked?
No, it's not John Hurt.
Not John Hurt. Yeah.
John Hurt passed away.
No, not John Hurt. What's his name?
No.
William Hurt. Something Hurt.
William Hurt. That's it.
John Hurt. Rest in peace. R.I.P. My man. Is it William Hurt?
Yeah, William Hurt. I don't think he's coming back. I think that we're done with him.
1950. Yeah, this man was so skinny.
He's 71 years old. I think that's why we have Valentina now.
Yeah. She even made a joke like, what are you on your second triple bypass? I was like, oh my god. This man can barely walk. Like, but yeah,
definitely seems like.
So we were supposed to see her first in this and not Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Which is wild because like
she didn't even introduce herself.
No, and they've said they did not change the movie from last year. The movie has been done for a year, and they have not shot an additional thing at all. So it's
not like
any.
They cut it.
Different. No, it's not like there was a version of that scene where she introduced herself or anything. Like I don't. And it sounds like that was always how she was going to show up for the first time, which is a choice.
Who was this random woman with purple in her hair with an iPad? Like,
I think it would kind of. You know what? I actually think it would work. Because kind of what I was thinking of when I watched this movie, and I was like, okay, this is the opposite of Phase 1. Phase 1, Iron Man ends, and we get Nick Fury join the I guess Red Hulk after trying to cure himself, so maybe they made him look that way on purpose. He's not going to be Red Hulk. I will bet money he's not coming back. He's done. He's 71 years old.
Never say never.
I know. I'm betting money that it's never. I don't think Valentina would be here if he was coming back to play Red Hulk, and I don't think Emil Blonsky would be in She-Hulk Abomination. I don't think they'd bring his ass back if they had Red Hulk sitting around. They're bringing back Abomination from a decade ago. Really? He might. But the fact that there's clearly extra footage of him from this movie that they cut out of the film makes me think that we're done with him. But back to my comparison to Phase 1. Iron Man, we see Nick Fury. We don't really get any explanation for what he is or who he is or what he's doing. They better not make the Thunderbolts if Thunderbolt Ross ain't part of it, LOL. They'll adaptation. If they want, they don't have to call it the Thunderbolts.
So, like, just put a picture of him up on the gym wall and be like, "This is who we train."
Bolts. Maybe it's the Valentina Bolts. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think it's a big deal. Yeah. There, you can't do everything. It's just not possible. But I think it's kind of the same thing. Where in this movie, if this would have been the first movie or the first thing we saw, like Nick Fury showing up and not explaining who he is at all, Valentina shows up. We get her name, so the diehard fans are like, "Oh shit, I know what the fuck this is. I know Valentina Fontaine Allegra, whatever the fuck her name is." Like,
is it really Allegra?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Is it like Della? It doesn't matter.
Valentina Allegra de Fontaine is the name.
Yes, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
I moved it around, but I think it would have been like that, and then we would have seen her in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and that's when the general audience would have found out who she is, which is kind of like Nick Fury showing up in Iron Man 2, right? And
that's true.
It's kind of the opposite of assembling the Avengers. In Phase 4, we're assembling the Dark Avengers, or whatever the fuck they're gonna call
the new team.
The kind of, but I think they're evil. I don't think she works for the U.S. government. I think
no.
They're going after Hawkeye. Like, really?
So does that mean that Florence Pugh is going to show up in Hawkeye?
Yes. No. Yeah. Confirmed.
Okay.
Which kind of I knew that.
Guess I'm watching Hawkeye.
I'm hosting that show, and if anybody tries to take it away from me, I'll kill you like Hawkeye killed Black Widow. According to Valentina.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, where was I? What was I thinking?
It says we got Elena, U.S. agent, hopefully Taskmaster. Who else would you want to see join?
I
don't know anything.
What's coming up? Maybe somebody from the Hawkeye series joins up. I don't think we're
someone from
Shang-Chi.
Yeah,
that would feel kind of weird to bring somebody. Although in the comics, Shang-Chi has a sister, I believe, who's not entirely on the up and up, so she could possibly join the crew. I don't think anybody from the Eternals is joining up with these guys. I don't think anybody from Spider-Man's joining up with these guys. I'm trying to think of what else is confirmed.
Anyone from She-Hulk?
Oh yeah, Abomination. I'm sure Abomination will join up.
She-Hulk.
Ghost needs to come back. I agree. Ghost needs to
I
come
never
back.
saw that one.
You didn't see Ant-Man and the Wasp, yeah.
No, we talked about this last week on Loki.
I listened to the show.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. All right. Do we have anything else? Any last thoughts? Any last feelings?
Man, it's crazy that we just had this awesome conversation about Black Widow, and we'll be back in like 3 days to talk about the finale of Loki.
I will not be back. I'm making my announcement here. I have to work, and I'm so mad, but it's okay.
So can we talk about something really quick?
Yeah.
So, what is it with you not wanting to do shows with me?
I was like, where is this going?
What is it about? It seems like anytime I'm on this show, you can't make it.
I showed up tonight, didn't I, Shawn?
Yeah, but this all kind of happened at the last minute. You kind of roped into it.
Shawn, it might have to go with the fact that you left the podcast that we all did together and just abandoned us.
But now we're here, Sarah. So
really, but now we're here talking about Black Widow. Yeah,
we all won. We all won in the end.
So we got the wrap up of Loki. What's coming up after Loki? What If, right?
August 11th, I believe, is when What If premieres. I don't know what. I mean, I assume that Thursday we'll be back for more. I don't know who's hosting that show.
Is that episodic?
Yes. Okay. It'll be 10 weeks. 10 episodes.
It's like the Bad Batch
citing-
all over again.
Well, Bad Batch is 16. Bad Batch ends that week though, so that'll be like
a countdown.
you should, Dean. It's really good, man. I really
I watched
enjoyed the
it.
movie.
Why are you watching this movie?
I don't know, dude. I don't know why Dean's
Spoiled.
watching there, dude.
I would say go to the theaters and watch it. I would say it's worth the $30, honestly, because you can keep watching it. Except for Jay Wade, who I'm assuming bought it, didn't like it, turned it off after 45 minutes, so that's a waste. But yeah, I would recommend it. It's fun. It's fun. I don't think it's the worst Marvel movie. I think it's not the worst.
It doesn't break my top 10.
But it's like top 5 for me. I'm gonna be honest.
5, really?
I don't know.
In my top 15.
I guess I gotta do a rank. It would break the top 10 for me. But I'm also the one that I can't talk about my Marvel preferences because I always get yelled at for them. So you know. Anyway, all right, Shawn. Until the next Marvel thing, until Loki in 3 days, where can the people find you?
You can find me sobbing in my car because Sarah doesn't want to do shows with me, but also on Twitter at Shawn_AFK.
It's true. Anytime Shawn responds like, "Yeah, I'll be there tonight," I'm like, "Oh shit, gotta find some plans."
You're like, I'm dying. I don't top 10 is Iron Man 2 9 times and then
I actually like Iron Man 2. I don't think it's that bad.
Plug your shit and let's get out of here.
All right, let's do this. You can follow me on Twitter at SCBock, SSEABOCK. You can follow the show on Twitter at MovieBlogMerc. You can follow some of the other people down here. We will be back. Oh my gosh. We will be back on Thursday. I will not be back on Thursday to talk about the finale of Loki. And we'll be back whenever more Marvel stuff drops. So be on the lookout for that. Until next time, goodbye. So long. Bye, bye, Miss American Pie.